A gentleman who was my coach, call him my teacher. His name was John Orden. And I said, J.O., for the next 10 minutes, you're not going to be my coach, you're going to be my father. And I asked him one question. I said, am I ever going to play in the big leagues? And he looked at me, and within 2 seconds, he said, probably not. And that was the toughest words I had ever heard in my life. They still made me kind of emotional. Those 2 words were 2 words that I heard my entire life. I probably wouldn't be good enough to do this, or I wouldn't be good enough to do that, or I didn't belong here, or I didn't do this because I didn't have money. Anytime you told me no, it was like putting fuel into my spirit. But I was mentally ready to walk away from the game that gave me so much. So J.O. tells me probably not. We shook hands, I cried. I gave him a hug and I said, thank you for being honest. You know, as a teacher, coaches are teachers, you know, he didn't have to do that. So I love that he was very honest with me. Dude, that moment changed my entire life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that like the moment where like you kind of realized, oh frick, reality check?
I knew, you kind of know it's coming.
Yeah.
But it hasn't really happened. So yeah, I mean, like when it happened, when it's like when you hear the words probably not, which is like him telling me no, then it became a reality. I'm like, man, you know what? I'm not gonna play the game that I love playing for. Like, I'm done.
Yeah.
You know. There's 2 sides to the story, though, right? I was, and I guarantee you, most athletes will relate to this. Mm-hmm. I was ready not to play. Right.
Right.
To an extent. But having somebody tell you that is the difficult part. It's almost like you just want to like.
You don't want to hear it.
You don't want to hear it. You want to kind of come from you. Like, oh, I don't want to play no more. Versus like somebody telling you, yeah, you're probably not gonna play in the big leagues.
Yeah.
You know. So that's the most difficult part. And then going back, you know, I'll never forget. So that day I'm on a flight. So once Major League Baseball releases you, or Minor League Baseball, for liability purposes, which we are I'm in the insurance world now. For liability purposes, they buy your plane ticket and you're off that day. And I remember clearly calling my grandmother. I can close my eyes and see it happening. I remember getting on my flight, and I remember my dad picking me up, and I remember getting home. I had my backpack full of bats. I don't know, I probably had like 20 something bats. And I put the bats down, and I was there, and it was like 2 weeks later. It was like, that's when it really hit me.
It's like there's nothing happening right now. Like,
no, dude, it was
just normal.
Yeah, I was like craving to like compete at something.
Yeah.
So used to waking up in the morning and having this structure, this kind of like this schedule, this timeline, this routine, and that was no longer the case. Yeah. I had a need to get up and go lift weights and then, you know, come back, take a nap, have my protein shake. I have my, you know, every athlete has a routine and whatnot. So that was a gut check, bro. But those 2 words changed my life.
But your family never second-guessed you at all. They still loved you no matter what.
My family still loved me no matter what. What my family didn't know was what I was going through internally after that. Yeah. Because I didn't want them to worry about me, you know? Which is bad. Shame on me because they love me. And I probably should have said, you know what, Dad? I'm really hurt, dude. Mm-hmm. Like, I need some help.
Yeah,
you know?
And you didn't start the healing
and help from the
yourself.
sense of like I need somebody I needed somebody to grieve with. Like, right. You know, I have somebody I've spoken to, and he's dealt with a lot of athletes, and they kind of compare it to like a loss. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not a loss, but it's a huge identity thing, man. And then it's like, who am I? What am I gonna do? It's tough.
Yeah,
it's tough. For some, it's tougher than others. For me, it was tough. Probably because I didn't play in the big leagues, and that, you know, that part of me that thinks, man, you know, I could have been there. Like, I know I have the talent.
Right.
But you also realize that what difference maker is not the physical talent. The difference maker is mindset, dude.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I've fallen so in love with mindset. It's why I'm so into it. It's why my faith has grown. It's why I think I've become a very successful businessman. It's because it's all about your mind. Like at that level, yes, there are some guys that are just stupid. like they're just really, really nasty talented.
Yeah.
But then you can hang and play as well. And then what separates the guy who's just like me and vice versa is his ability and belief system. Like he genuinely believes in what he does. His mindset is stronger. And that's where I'm at today. I just wasn't there at 24.
Is there anything or one thing that you would have preferred to do? Like, if there was one thing you could change, is there one thing you could change? You wanted to change?
If there was one thing that I could change, it will go back to mindset, man. I wish I would have had the self-awareness of how important it was to really focus on my mind and not so much on my physicality. Like, I spent hours hitting on a batting cage. I'll give you an example, right? I hit thousands of baseballs, probably a week. And I was like, dude, now I look back, I'm like, did I need to do that? Or should I have sat in the batting cage and visualized? Should I have meditated and really, focused on the mental side of the game? I don't think I did that. I think I was so caught up on physical and get faster and get stronger. And like, I had that, Yes, it wasn't at an elite level, but it was at a great level.
Yeah.
I mean, I was drafted twice for Major League Baseball. I had something.
Right.
So I really wish that I would have dialed in on mindset.
And you think
read more, ask coaches better questions.
Right.
Versus practice is over. Let me be the last guy here turning off the lights. That's great, but it's almost counterproductive.
Would you say that one thing probably would have led you on a different path?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. But what also see the difference with me is that I know that God's plan for me was different. Right. So no, I don't. Like, I know that I'm not so. If I'm going to be a major leaguer, I would have been a major leaguer.
Right.
You understand? With that said, it made me self-aware for my personal life and for my life in business, and how, like, business. What is business about? Being smart, making the right decisions,
right.
Having emotional intelligence, being emotionally healthy during tough times.
Right.
Being
patient, thinking about the right decisions.
Dude, of course, man. You know how many times I got my ass kicked in the last decade in business? I mean,
imagine.
I keep saying this because it's so true. And I tell Doug and Lewis all the time, I'm like, I wish we could have recorded or captured the last decade. Like, everybody sees our beautiful office. Everybody sees our growth now. Like, but nobody saw when we were in one office, dude, 3 computers, literally knocking on doors. I mean, I can remember I broke the law. I remember going into a gated community. I'm not going to say the name of it. And I went on in the computer system. I drew up a homeowner's quote. And all the houses were kind of cookie cutter, so all looked the same. So I'm like, all right, this quote would apply to all the other houses. And I got in, and I was opening up people's mailboxes and sticking in quotes. And in some cases, people would be on their lawn. And dude, it was like it was like, you know what that was for me? It's like T-ball again. I saw in baseball, I had T-ball, coach pitch, kid pitch, right? Then you go to high school baseball, junior college baseball, minor leagues. That was my game, right?
Track,
There's no difference in business. I was back to T-ball. I needed to go to coach pitch. Then I went to kid pitch. Then I went to college. Then I went to the minors. And now I can say we're in the big leagues, which is cool. So because now we're competing at the highest level in this industry and growing. So, now here's the challenge, right? And I've only heard this because I didn't experience it. The highest game I ever played in was a AAA game. And it was because a player was injured and it was in spring training. I got called up. It was pretty cool.
That's cool.
But every big leaguer that I know always says it's much easier to get there than it is to stay there. So now is how long can we sustain this? And I think that we've done a hell of a job in building a strong infrastructure, leadership program, leadership people, excellent teammates
Right.
to really sustain this and build a legacy. This is all about building legacy, bro.
One thing that I've been thinking about past couple of weeks is, do you think there's been a negative effect on you because you've been an athlete? Like maybe being too competitive when it doesn't need to be competitive?
No,
No?
opposite. I think that the reason that we win a lot now in business is because we understand that the game is 9 innings and we take every single game to the last pitch. Or Doug will say he plays 4 quarters of football. When you're working in the environment and at the that we're working on, and when you're dealing with the clientele that we're working with, it's high pressure, high intensity, and if you can't handle that, you can't play. So that's why we have the edge, because that's all we know, is failure. Probably not. You're not good enough. So we just landed a very, very, very large account.
Yeah.
I sat down with somebody in my industry who was a consultant. And the consultant looked at me and said, you can't compete with the national brokers. And pretty much what this person was asking me to do was to walk away from this account because she felt, or he felt threatened. And I sat there with a smile at lunchtime. And it was like the same person telling me my whole life, you're not good enough to play this game. And I looked at this person, but now with a different mindset and with a confidence I've never had before. I said, you know what? I respect your opinion, but you really have no idea what our resources are and who our players are. Like you have no idea what's about to happen.
Right.
But this time I said that with conviction and boldness and confidence. Whereas in the past, as an athlete, that doubt kicked in. Like there was no doubt this time.
Right.
I'm looking at you. I'm gonna cut your knees. Like you have no idea. You have no idea.
So it's more like when you get to a certain level of like experience and confidence, it's like now what I'm saying to you, I'm actually like it's gonna happen. Like there's no question or concern on my part because I know what I can do. I know what my people can do, and you're going down.
I publicly say this now.
Yeah.
With 100% conviction, if we are in your way, you better be ready to compete and do not underestimate what's coming at you.
I love that.
And I say that respectfully and humbly. Game respects game.
Right.
Right? But when you have somebody who's so unaware of what your game is, and instead of having the emotional intelligence of saying, dude, let me not jump into a conclusion with these people. Let me find out a little bit about who they are. But just like judge the book by its cover.
It's like jumping in a fight with McGregor, who's just suited up at a bar. You have no idea who he is.
And you have no idea you're about to get your ass kicked.
And then all of a sudden, he takes his jacket off and you're about to get shot.
And you're trying to save this person. Be like, just work. We can work together, but don't like. You're sitting here telling me to walk away in a very political way.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at you saying, I'm about to beat your ass, but I don't want to do that. I want to work with you.
Right.
Just hear me. So then what do you got to do? You got to get into the boxing match, or you got to get into the field, and you got to drop a bomb. And then all of a sudden, they crumble, and they're like, oh my God. I'm like, dude, I told you. I wanted to work with you.
Ring.
Don't step in the ring with me. Work with me. Jump on my ship.
Right.
So, but yeah, I mean, that's just how the game is played now. I mean, we are at the top of our game, and only getting better. There's always room for improvement. I mean, the future, through God's grace is very bright. And if we continue to really strengthen our infrastructure like we have, investing all the money that we're investing back into our company, investing into our personnel, and more importantly, building the culture that actually believes in the mission statement, sky's the limit.